Hi everybody, Dacob here. Welcome to the Gianni Versace tribute video. Alright, you still there? Kindle is already here. Yes, I'm here. Donatella really opened the archive this time, Kindle says. Yes. Wow, oh my god, 3 thumbs up. When did I start live streaming? Did it start before I started? Anyway, I'm in full-on Medusa. Versace. Well, actually, a little bit of Vivienne Westwood too, but it's all Gianni, okay? Well, actually, there's a bit of Gianni. There's a bit of Donatella. There's a bit of everything. Hey, Melly, how you doing? It's like, hi, Dacob. Chiadora, hi. Hey, hi, Chiadora. So, okay, let's get straight to it. I'm in full-on Gianni mode, right? Robert, hi, just jumped on. Let's see what's going on. Anite, I love your outfit. Thank you. So, guys, what can I say? I mean, it was wonderful. It was sad. Also, there's some things I didn't like. We're not going to follow up. I mean, we're not going to, live stream the show, obviously, because it already passed. It was 2 days ago. But I'm going to analyze it. So for those of you who are tuning in now, you've probably already seen the show. And you've made up your minds and your opinions. But I'm just going to share with you a couple of thoughts, right? So I've been a fan of Gianni Versace since the 90s, basically. And I grew up with Gianni's style, fashion, passion for fashion, everything. Melinda says, overall, I like the show except for the pastels. Well, Gianni, let's make something very clear about this fashion show. So Donatella did go into the archives, and by archives, she mostly went looking for this stuff. Prints, Gianni Versace prints, inspiration. This is pants I have. I wore them a couple of times. I think on Instagram you see me, like when I went to the Gianni Versace exhibition, I actually wore these. Leo says the pastel trio dress thing was so cute though. We'll get to the pastel, but what she did was she basically went hunting for, all of these particular special prints, even this one. Remember I showed this a couple of days ago? It was a premonition. I mean, it's not the first time that Donatella goes into the archives to hunt down her brother's special pieces, This is something that's been going on. Versace for H&M, this is the Miami print. So she already back, like, when was the Versace for H&M thing? Like 2009, 10, I don't know. Or 11? She already took stuff out, I mean, I have this scarf. This is from a couple of years ago. This is, remember when I made the video about cultural appropriation? So this is a Gianni Versace, very famous Gianni Versace print, his Indian print, also from the 90s. This one is from the 90s. This is a Soho Boutique New York opening of the store t-shirt. And we're going to get to this for a reason, because this one back then was around $100 to $200. And now there's also like a capsule collection, like, Moschino started in Fall Winter 14. Every brand now does a capsule collection right after the fashion show. So what happened with Versace, we also get like a tribute t-shirt collection. Like Gianni Versace tribute t-shirt collection with Gianni's archival prints, digitally print on the t-shirts, and those t-shirts have a price. And they're around $800 to $900 each. So we're going to get to that as well. T-shirts, short sleeves, cotton t-shirts. So the show is basically prints and patterns from Gianni's archives. And Donatella kind of revisited the shapes and the cuts. So the clothes is kind of mostly her design, following the structure of some of the dresses that Gianni made in the 90s and 80s. And then she would modernize them, make them kind of more ready for 2018. So that's that. So it's not that we get one-to-one copies of Gianni's models. We get one-to-one copies of his prints. This is a print. This structure here with the baroque frame, and then the sea, the ocean, the palm trees, the leopard. This is a print. The feathers of the Indian the zipper structure here, the greca motif here. Those are prints and patterns. Now, so she took those and then she kind of manipulated them within the framework of new cuts for clothes, how to cut a jacket, how to cut a dress, and so on and so forth. The models used for the runway were, you know, modern models, new models. Of course, Gigi had to close the show. It was so annoying. But I had overall this impression of a relatively cheap runway because well, it was just a very sleek, tiny runway. Everything was white, super simple, but it didn't look super simple like it wanted to be simple, and it didn't want to overshadow or overpower the clothes or anything. It just seemed all really poor rather than, you know, the Gianni opulence style. So whatever, that's okay. But I know that the Versace company has a bit of issues and problems. Money-wise, they're not doing very well. A mistake that Donatella made, and this is, as much as I don't really, you know, like to talk about certain people, there's one particular singer that once she became famous, Donatella all of a sudden became friends with her. Just like Donatella all of a sudden became friends with Britney Spears when Britney was at her highest. And so this particular singer kind of got to, you know, go into the archives to select a couple of jewelry pieces, and then Donatella would reproduce those and would sell them in the stores. And then we had this kind of revival of Gianni Versace because certain 90s prints and patterns would be brought back by this particular singer, but not just, because the collectors always loved those pieces the most. And so Donatella, or somebody advised her, I don't know, because the company was not doing well. They were closing down their boutiques worldwide. This is around 2008-9. And so she started bringing back a little bit, you know, the patterns from the archives, but then the big kind of striking gold for the Versace company was when when the H&M collaboration arrived, because that's when all of these kind of archive prints were reproduced on cheap fabrics. The collection was supposed to be affordable. Yeah, we get it. Those are not like high-end silks and stuff. These are pieces produced in Romania, in China, stuff like that. But the patterns were what brought back the Versace heritage, you know, all of a sudden back into the spotlight. And Donatella, instead of using that and being clever about it back then when she had a chance, she kind of went back to her own way, saying, okay, no, I'm going to do my stuff again. I'm going to design my own, you know, clothes. It's going to be the Donatella Versace vibe. And she made a huge mistake. And then again, you know, from that huge hype, it kind of started going down again. And then now again, Versace, you know, is struggling in some countries with its style. And now, cometh 2017, we get, you know, this tribute, and finally, whoever advised her was like, girl, what makes Versace Versace is these particular prints, these special patterns. That's the memory we all have of him since he died. It didn't really evolve. As much as I love Donatella to pieces, I don't know, I don't really see an incredible progression. I love her as a character, but she never topped him. Never. And so now, when I think it might be also too late, now she figures, okay, let's go all the way. Let's go out with a bang or whatever. Let's take all of the pieces from the archives and, you know, the patterns, the prints, and let's use those for a collection. I will design the clothes, or I will alter the clothes, and but the prints will be his prints. And let's call it a tribute to Gianni. Okay, you should have done it back in 2010, but whatever. Kindle says Donatella should just stick to the DNA of Versace. I totally agree. I totally agree. Instead, she has her own. But, you know. So anyway, here we are. 2017. We're 7 years too late. And then she chooses this weird artist. I don't know who the heck it was, with this awful voice. Really bad accent. So uninspired and lifeless. Reading this sort of love letter, which we think is from Donatella to Gianni, because this love letter keeps saying, my brother, you freed women. but with an accent, my brother, you have freed women and I love you. And I'm like, but what the, I mean, either Donatella reads it or nobody reads it, or just shut up. Don't add that extra layer. Again, we're like when this impoverished, simplistic, that looks very poor type of runway. I'm talking about the white floor, the everything. I'm not talking about the clothes. I'm just talking about the setting. And then you have this cheap, skanky kind of voice reading this letter in loop because the letter wasn't long enough to fill a full runway. So it's repeating the same letter over and over and over. Really bad, really, really tacky, unnecessary. And you have this weird kind of shower curtain at the bottom of the runway, and you're thinking something is behind there, but you're thinking it looks so cheap. It's like literally a shower curtain. But anyway, the shower curtain is there. So the models start running through and they're all walking, and beautiful prints. Of course we love those prints. Those are the, these. We're talking this stuff. We're talking this stuff, We love, I mean, I live for this shit here. This is the Gianni Versace I know, and I was raised to love, Look at his theater dramatic prints. And then the show ends and Gigi has to close the show, and then lights go down, and then camera focuses on the shower curtain, the IKEA shower curtain, that it opens up. And of course, I cried when that happened because, he created the supermodels, the top models. He put them together and they were in that same pose. Okay, some of them were missing, they weren't all there. But we had a huge comeback of, Cindy Crawford, Helena Christensen was there, Claudia Schiffer, Naomi Campbell, and Carla Bruni. And they were wearing his metal mesh dresses in gold, and it was just so emotional. And then Donatella pops up like little Smurfette, and then they walk down the runway together, and it was touching. That was very emotional. That was beautiful. But Kindle says Naomi never went away. No, she never went away. I'm talking about Cindy Crawford. Cindy Crawford had a comeback. The other ones didn't have a comeback. All of the other ones are still working in fashion. Some more, some less. Then I think to myself, they're going to have some capsule collection. And what did she do? Donatella didn't let those t-shirts from the capsule collection run down the runway. No, she let influencers from Instagram and stuff like that wear those t-shirts while they were seated in the crowd. So what? Those t-shirts aren't worthy of the runway? But you think that I want to buy something that freaking, what's her name? Chiara Ferragni wears. I don't want to wear anything. I don't want to come to anything near or close to what that woman touches, wears, smells, or feels. I'm sorry, but that's it. I don't want to wear what influencers wear. I don't actually, once it hits them, once they get it, I don't have anything to do with it. So that's already, whoever advised her to do that was wrong. And then the biggest mistake was this. So the capsule collection are just this kind of selection of 6 or 7 t-shirts that vary in euro prices between 500 and 760 euro per t-shirt. And I think to myself, Donatella, listen, this is a huge mistake. You are not that iconic. I'm sorry. You're not. You should have been really clever. And let me give you a little strategy for free to the Versace team. This is what you should have done marketing-wise if you wanted to really go skyrocket, sell out of the capsule collection, and bring yourself back to this world. Because Donatella, you're living in a bubble, girl. You're not living in the real world. You're really out of it. And this is what you should have done. You should have checked the internet, secondhand websites, and checked for how much money do the original pieces and prints, the vintage Gianni Versace pieces, how much do they go for today? His original silk shirts with the buttons and all that shebang. For how much do they sell? What is the demand? What is the asking price for those on secondhand websites? Once you figure that out, your short sleeve cotton t-shirts that aren't silk, that don't have any buttons, that just use prints but are not the original. First of all, Gianni Versace never had, he didn't use digital prints back then. There were no digital prints. So now you're digitally printing his prints on cotton t-shirts, something he never really did that way. And you're selling them for exorbitant prices. Check how much his original silk stuff with his original prints costs, secondhand market. They go for around 400 euro. 350 to 1,000. But 400 is usually the average price they go for. If you're clever, Donatella, you make your t-shirts cost 20 to 15% less than the original Gianni Versace vintage pieces. Then you sell. That's how you sell out. You don't mark up the price of a t-shirt that Gianni never designed. You just steal his print, basically, and you sell it for double or triple the amount of money that I can, you know, get an original vintage Gianni Versace piece for. It makes no sense, girl. Like, that's business 101. I'm sorry, but Kindle says, Dacob, remember the Jennifer Lopez dress? She reused the print that Gianni originally created, and it was a hit. Yeah, of course. I mean, the Jennifer Lopez dress, part of those palm tree prints were also implemented in the H&M collection with Versace as well. But whatever, that's besides the point right now. This is besides the point. We're talking about this tribute collection in particular. We're not talking about Donatella doing every year collections. Let that be. That's something else if she makes one dress or two dresses for some star using Gianni's influence and it's a great hit. That's fine. But we're talking, this is a tribute collection with all of his archival prints. You do not mark up the price of this capsule collection of cotton t-shirts double or triple the price that I can get the original vintage pieces for. Makes no sense. Nobody's going to buy it. Nobody. Why should I spend 760 euro on a t-shirt when I could spend 400 euro on an original silk buttoned long sleeve original printed Gianni Versace shirt on the secondary market? That's just my... So I smell the greed and I sense the kind of disorientation there. There was huge potential 10 years ago to do the print stuff. They didn't. She messed it up. Or whoever advised her messed it up. Now we're a bit late for that and you're still doing it, but the setting isn't right. It's too cheap. The environment in which you're representing that beauty. And the dresses are beautiful. The way that she portrayed in 2018... the cut of the dresses with his prints from the 90s, that's beautiful. It works. Those dresses work, each and every one of them. And you say some of the pastels you didn't like. You know, Gianni had a wonderful pastel collection back in the 90s, and I love his pastels. And even the girls that went on that were on the catwalk with the slimmer Versace font logo on the t-shirts, for those of you who think, what's that? Well, that was his font back in the 80s. So the font for the logo, actually, a couple of pieces that were on the runway used the original font from the 80s. Then it changed. In the 90s, where's my... We had this, then we got this logo here. That was the type of logo we got. And then, you know, Donatella took the Gianni away. She just left the Versace. And now it's just a black logo with kind of a gold Versace inscripted on top. But before this logo here, we had just the Gianni Versace, kind of Art Deco, very 80s style. And those are the t-shirts you see on the runway, just pastel t-shirts with different inscriptions, you know, saying Gianni or Versace on them. So you understand, I mean, I am thrilled that there is a tribute to him and that it's wonderful and I love his prints. I live for those prints. But I have an issue with the execution of, you know, the framework of it and the decision for the price making. I think that's respectless towards him. Because what? You think that your pieces now, that your t-shirts are worth more than his original pieces back then? No, they're not. They're not worth more. They never will be. The original is going to be the one and only. So if you're going to do a tribute, make sure to make it cost a little bit less than the original. If you want to show respect. If you want to be a greedy beady, and you think people are going to buy it anyway, no matter how much you make it cost. No, that's where you got to think again. You're 10 years too late. 10 years ago, that might have worked. Not anymore, girl. Anyway, that's my thought. That's my 5 mini cents on the topic. All right, so Kindle says, Gianni left so much material to reuse. Yes. Kindle also says, Dacob, remember that we did the Jennifer Lopez dress, the luxury hybrid. Now H&M makes palm tree throw pillows for your couch. And also H&M with Versace had a couple of pillows as well. You know, they made like a longer pillow, a shorter pillow. There were a couple of his like Chinese and fan inspired prints were printed on very cheap cotton velvet pillows with fringes on the sides. The luxury hybrid says, oh no, oh my God, I'm rereading everything. I'm still hungover, guys, from like yesterday's event. Kendall says, yes, it's overpriced. The collection is overpriced. Her greed and poor direction is killing the company. I agree. And Kendall says, man, you know your history. Love you. Thank you. Kendall says, Gianni was the master. Donatella is just a sister. Donatella influenced Gianni a lot. We got to give her credit where credit is due. She's not the person that didn't do the, she, under his guidance, she was amazing. She pulled a lot of things together when he was losing it. We got to give her a lot of credit. He and her together were a power team. He is the vision. She's in many ways the execution. He gave her the direction of Versus back in the 90s. So Donatella was the artistic director of Versus. The Versus collection in the 90s under her direction was incredible. Incredible. So, I love what Donatella does, but she is at her best when he's around. Sebastian Prado says, why didn't you like Gigi closing the show? Who would you choose to close it? Listen, I would have dressed up Donatella in some amazing dress, and I would let Donatella walk down the runway in the last look. She's his sister. It's a tribute to him. What the fuck is Gigi Hadid? What does she have to do with Gianni? Nothing. She's just a fucking operated face, totally manipulated, artificially hyped to become this huge star. I don't want to see her. I don't want to have anything to do with her. And I don't want her connected to anything as amazing and incredibly, from the source, beautiful as Versace. So, But I did say in my other video, she does do one thing. She makes me hope that anybody, no matter how you look, how you're born, you could just operate yourself to fit a certain profile, of aesthetical, like what is considered beautiful. But it's all marketing. She markets herself just like every brand markets itself to become something bigger or better. That's all it is. I see no beauty there. I see machinery. I see deception. I see construction. I see people sitting at a round table thinking how to profit from a situation as much as possible and then constructing some object, which is this Hadid creature. Hugo says, I kind of liked it, but I'm only 20. I don't understand that as much as someone older or a Gianni fan, but I get your point. Hugo, the thing is, you don't have to understand it, it's about history. And if it interested you, you can look it up, on the internet, Google it. Like, there's so many books on Gianni Versace that are beautifully made books. A lot of those books were made during his lifetime. So he directed those books. So you could get a kind of a little sneak peek into his world, into his creativity, into what he stood for back in the 80s and 90s, and how were the times back in the 80s and 90s? What was the political situation? What was the cultural connotation? What did certain things mean? What did certain creations aesthetically, like from clothes, materials, editing, what did it mean back then? We can look. Let's say you were born just a couple of years ago and you never lived back in the 90s, and you see some of the creations of the 90s. You might not understand why certain aesthetical choices were made, but you can understand them if you learn about the history of that period. And it's a wonderful puzzle piece. Some people aren't interested. That's legit too. It's fine. You don't have to be interested. But if you are interested, as I am, it's always so fascinating to discover reasons why certain choices were made. And all of a sudden, maybe something that you thought was ugly, and maybe it's still ugly in your concept of what beauty is and what aesthetic is, but at least you you start to respect it because you understand where it comes from. And once you understand where something comes from, even though you don't like it, it's that understanding of why it exists that makes you go, oh, okay, now I got it. I still don't like it, but I understand the reasons behind it. And that's the way I tick. I want to know the reasons behind certain things before I give like an ultimate judgment on anything. Hugo says, but I agree that Gigi sucks. Melinda is sick of seeing Gigi. The Luxury Hybrid says, celebrities allowed for the fashion houses to try and keep up with fast fashion by making it annoyingly mainstream, which causes sloppy, half-assed, put-together collection. Ooh, the shade. Hugo says, Bella Catwalk is lame AF. Debbie says, yes, the Hadids are too much. Kiadora says, I feel so sorry for models who are like 1,000,000 times more beautiful than Gigi, but they're not known at all. Same goes with Kendall Jenner and Cara Delevingne, in my personal opinion. I totally agree with you. I totally agree with you. Some people just get hyped because they have the right management, they have the right connections, and it has nothing to do with talent. It has nothing to do with beauty. It just has to do with marketing. Hyping something artificially, blowing it up like a bubble. Really good public relation companies and agencies, that's all they do. They create you. And it's sad. It's just like with law in America. You could sue anybody, but you can only win if you have the most amount of money and if you have the best lawyer. It's not really about who's really right and who's really wrong. It's about who manages to manipulate reality better. And those that manage to manipulate the reality better only manage to manipulate it better because they have the resources. Kindle says, I missed the first and second wave supermodels. They had so much character and individuality and knew how to show the clothes. That's so true. Linda says, amen, Dacob to that. And on another note, Kindle, you know, we also have to understand, in the 90s, there wasn't such an overly massive production of fashion. There wasn't like 15 collections a year. Things weren't being overproduced. They were, but not as much as today. So also the designers had more time to dedicate themselves to creating a collection. That's why they also looked better. And this also means that because the pieces were stronger, because there was also more time to dedicate to the collection, they could allow themselves to also use models that had more character. Because if you use today, with all the designers out there and all the fashion houses and all the collections being made by all these different brands, if you use characters, models that are too powerful in their presence, you're going to overshadow those creepy, crappy clothes completely. But on the other hand, if you keep using models that don't have the character, that look like dead, washed out faces walking down the runway, they're not going to take away anything from the clothes. The clothes have more of a chance of being noticed. But since the collections aren't that strong, you can't have strong models because the strong models would steal the show completely. That little bit of something left for those clothes would be gone because of the models. First thing. Second thing, everybody's trying to be as greedy as possible, to save as much money as possible. You can't really push and create supermodels nowadays because they're going to cost too much. So you got to keep everybody, and you got to keep this kind of low profile. You know, you're not allowed to let a model grow too much because you want to keep their prices low because you don't want to pay them too much for the runways. So it's always better to discover some new face that still isn't expensive rather than investing in really amazing models to do the job, you know. Because A, your clothes might not be strong enough, and B, because you don't want to spend that money. So Debbie says, truer words never have been spoken. Amen. I am glad I grew up pre-internet. Yes. Kiadora says, oh, that shade. Preach, Dacob. Melinda says, lol, Debbie. The luxury hybrid. Me too. None of my bad choices are permanently recorded. Oh my God. Really? No, I record everything, and it's tragic because, you know. But I think with social media, what is fascinating to me, the more I'm in it and, the more I share, and it's like you own it. It's like, okay, yeah, I made a mistake. Yes, it was my mistake. I'm human. I'm not a robot. And even robots make mistakes, but humans make mistakes. And also humans evolve, Maybe something I liked 2 years ago is not something I like today. It's okay. I accept it. I would never go to fashion police, and like, when Joan Rivers, may she rest in peace, God bless her, love Joan Rivers, when she would like invite some starlet or star or film person, whatever, celebrity, and then she would be like, okay, tell us, what's the red carpet look you're embarrassed for from the past, and then everybody would bring some look that they're embarrassed for and some look that they think is their best look. I wouldn't have a look I'm embarrassed for. I could be embarrassed for each and every look I wear. I could be embarrassed for this right now. I own it. Who cares? I think, I have to be able to laugh about myself. I think others should have the right to laugh about me too. Why not? Life is too short to be bitter. Like, oh my God, it has to be perfect. You gotta everything has to be so perfect. So anal about it. No, I don't need to pay any stylist to style me. Thank you very much. I can do it on my own. If I look like trash, yeah. Does trash exist in this world? It does. So, if it exists, why am I not allowed to interact with it, to create something with it? You know what I mean? I own it. I own the good and the bad and the ugly. Diana says, oh, that's why they love Ken Dull. Yeah, Dull, that's a good one. Melinda says, it's fun to see how we all have evolved via our social media. That's a very fascinating topic. Evolving through social media. There is an evolution, there is a shift and a change. Also, all this stuff about people saying, government's spying on us and you don't give out too much information. Girl, all of us are sharing so much. When you fart, when you eat, when you go to bed, what you do. At one point, there's such an over quantity of information. Filtering out what is important from what is not important is impossible. They're trying to build bots and stuff, the programs that's going to filter out something important from something not important, but nothing is really, perfect. You can always lose some vital bit of information, but the thing is, this is what I'm saying. When everybody shares everything, then there's nothing to hide anymore. Then nobody can use anything anymore against you because you're in the open. It's like, okay, I have nothing to be embarrassed for. Oh, are you gonna blackmail for what are you gonna blackmail me for? Because I dressed up in this attire tonight? Well, the whole world potentially can see me because the video is public. There you have it, shared, out in the world, done with it. Let's move on, All this obsessiveness of making a mistake, heaven forbid, it's killing us. You have to feel free to make mistakes. I truly believe this, guys. You have to be free to make mistakes. How else are you going to learn? You're not going to learn by always tiptoeing your way around the mud and never stepping inside of the mud. That ain't, Anyway. Melinda says, I still have the same taste and style, though, through years. Kindle says, where should Versace go now? Also, do you think Versace should have a line like Armani Exchange? Well, Versace has that line. Versace has the Versace collection line. Now they only give you half a Medusa if you buy the collection line. They have Versace jeans, they have Versus as well. And they have Versace and Versace underwear. Melina says, let go, make mistakes. Yes. Kindle says, if the government wanted to find you, they will. So don't worry about it. Yeah, I know. That's the point. If somebody wants to really find you, they're going to find you. But this is the thing. Why would anybody not want to be found in the first place? You know what I mean? If you have nothing to hide, why are you hiding then? Stupman, hey, how you doing, sweetie? Stupman says, ciao. Melina says, just be you. And as far as, Versace is concerned, to answer your question, where can it go from now? The time has come for the brand of Versace to really, look, Lagerfeld was very intelligent back in the 80s, 1983, when he took over Chanel. He understood very, very clearly what needed to be done in order for that brand to keep growing. And what he did was he pinpointed out a couple of iconic pieces, like key language points, the aesthetical language of the brand, and he pushed it. Every collection, he still does that. Every season you have the same language, the same aesthetical language repeated over and over and over again. Meaning, look at their website. You have categories. Every season you can click on the category camellias. There's a camellia every season. There's a chain every season. There's a gardenia inspiration every season. There's a particular glass pearl inspiration every season. There's a Maltese cross every season. There's a matelassé kilted structure every season. There's the famous Chanel lambskin every season. And it's repeated over and over and over and over again. Constantly repeated. Which is what Donatella didn't do. She needed, the second Gianni died, instead of trying to prove herself to the world, she needed to work to preserve the heritage of the brand by repeating the elements Gianni left behind. And every season developing it further, moving it on. Certain prints need to be reutilized over and over and over and over again. Of course they do. That's what the brand is. But instead, the mistake was made that, you know, splitting the women and the men. Of course, we have the female shows and the male shows. The male shows did not have a continuity. The big problem Versace faced, in my personal opinion, back in the 2000s, 2010s, was every season for men had a different type of client in mind. So it's not like they continued building on the same customers that they chose, but they would offer a totally different structure, line, and representation of the clothes for the future seasons. So certain clients would get lost because they wouldn't feel attracted to the clothes from Spring Summer 10, even though they loved the clothes from Spring Summer 9, because the aesthetical language changes drastically from one year to the other. That continuity was lacking. Donatella was investing more time and energy in the female collection, and you could see that there's a bit more of a line there, but it's also... And now, you know, after Tisci left Givenchy, we were all thinking Tisci's going to go to Versace. Maybe this was Donatella's goodbye. Maybe from the next season where they're going to announce Tisci is going to do the next collection. I don't know. I don't even care really because I've never been a fan of his. So whatever. I do think he would do better there than he did at Givenchy. But Versace, to me, she did this extreme tribute with all these extreme prints. But instead of doing it in one season, every season she should have imbued the collection with several key pieces that were Gianni DNA. You know, she would say every collection has the Gianni DNA, but she would push it in other directions. For example, a certain particular cut is reminiscent of Gianni or stuff like that. But, you know, people, we're talking Versace here. This is a very visual creator. Pop and baroque at the same time. You need that visual impact, and prints are very important for him, and that's what she should have pushed forever. Rant over. So what do you guys say, guys? Her ego got in the way, Debbie asks. Maybe. Hugo says, oh my god, I couldn't agree more on that. Carl is a genius. That's what I appreciate, because the essence of the original brand is still there season after season. Yeah, even though I think Carl should go, because Chanel is not doing very well in the past seasons. I don't think these last collections are so detached from anything, really. They're not those clothes. I don't know. I'm not really feeling Chanel since a couple of seasons. Some accessories are cool. You could like cherry pick them, but the overall vibe, the 90s are long gone, and Lagerfeld isn't getting any younger, so at a certain point, you know. Melinda says, can we see your ring up close? Sure, let me... Melinda, I don't know when you tuned in, but this is the only piece that's not Versace today. This is Vivienne Westwood. It's the squiggle ring. It's silver. And of course, this is an iPad camera, so it's a bit crappy. You don't see... So it's squiggle, and this is enamel in rose, and then you have this silver squiggle. And by the way, this squiggle pattern used by Vivienne was invented or given to her by Castelbajac, another designer I love so much. Melinda says, oh, no wonder I like it, lol. Yeah, Melinda loves Westwood as well. Yeah, this is a good. This one is, I want to say 2013, but maybe it's 2012. But I think it's 2013. And they came in different colors, like you had the blue enamel, black enamel, like turquoise, and red as well. I think red was available too. Cries in Paris says, I know nothing. I know it, I know it has nothing to do with Versace, but will you talk about the brand Etro? I could talk about Etro as well. It's just not really my brand. I don't own anything from Etro, really. Maybe a scarf or two? I don't know. Kedora says, my therapist taught me to perceive mistakes not as mistakes, but as experiences which I can learn from. True. And we move on and evolve with every single experience, whether it's a bad or a good one. Very well said, Kedora. And Melinda says, a Chanel is so lost, so sad. Stupan says, the king is dead, long live the queen. Perhaps Donatella didn't want to relive Joe's former work, Gianni's former work, to take the Medusa in a completely different direction. Listen, even the Medusa has changed. The Medusa used to be much more detailed and pointy. The new Medusa is, do I have her anywhere? The new Medusa is like more rounded and soft. Here. This Medusa, there she is used to be more pointy, had more snakes coming out, and they were all very much more aggressive. Now the logo has become more user-friendly, if you may. And I think Donatella did take the Medusa in a different direction. I mean, times evolve. I think things have to change in a way. But at least she kept the Medusa. That's already something, you know. Kindle says, I feel Donatella really let us men down in the fashion department. In a way, I kind of like to know what to expect. Yet a little different or influenced by something, yet true to the brand. I know. And with her, you never know. Every male collection is different, so it's really hard to keep track. Kidora says, well, that said, my therapist, not me. Oh, okay. Okay, your therapist said that. I just wanted to mention it. She's super girl. Yeah, there's a lot to be said about therapists. One also needs to find the right therapist. If you like this video, thumb it up. I need to see the love. Thumbs it up, sit. Upsy, thumbsy. Thumbsy, upsy if you like, see. Melinda says, Paris Fashion Week next. What do you want, or what do we want to see next? Oh, I don't know. I want to see fun stuff. I want people to care less about, you know, I know you need the money to sustain yourself and the business has to grow, but people should dare a bit more, you know, invent something new. And I don't believe it when people tell you everything has been invented already, everything has been done already. I'm like, yeah, okay, everything has been done already, but there's still a lot more to come. This can't be it. I don't believe that we're done, that there's nothing more to find and discover. I just can't believe that. No. No, I just don't believe it, you know? Wait, I'm sure there's more. There must be. There must be more. You just got to try harder and produce less, consume less, buy less. I mean, this is Vivienne Westwood's motto, you know. She has her own fashion empire, and yet the woman is boycotting herself. I think that's genius. She keeps repeating, buy less, choose well, make it last. Buy less, choose well, make it last. It's like a mantra. Repeat it to yourself over and over and over again, and it will come as part of your DNA, you know. Make things last that you love. Don't buy them because they're fashionable now. You know? Buy it if you're really going to treasure it. I mean, I got this jacket back in 2009. I still have it. I still put it on from time to time. Like, I never forget it. I make it last. Stupman says, that's why we have haute couture. To be fun and exciting. The lines can be boring and crowd-pleasing. Yeah, the pret-a-porter can be more of a crowd-pleaser. Haute couture can be the experimentation. But even haute couture, you know, the big haute couturières are gone, really. Because, I mean, you know, Mugler doesn't do anything anymore. Gaultier is still there. Gaultier still has his moments. I don't think that Karl Lagerfeld's Chanel haute couture is this incredible thing. He has his moments from time to time when the shows are exceptional. But most of the time, his haute couture is just the more expensive pret-a-porter look, to me. It doesn't make me go, any more or less than the pret-a-porter collection does. Actually, most of the time, the pret-a-porter collections have more of a shocking aspect to them than the haute couture shows. Which is fine too, because, you know, it's the French. They have to be a little bit arrogant about it, being just like, this is elegance and quality. We don't need to scream about it all the time. I get that too. That's fine as well. But even with haute couture, you know, if you have the 200,000 euro for one dress, you're not gonna wear it twice. If you're that rich, it's embarrassing for you to show yourself twice on two different, you know, occasions wearing the same dress. That's considered, you know, no. Which is tragic if you think of it, but that's how it is, unfortunately, in the superficial world we live in. Stupan says, make things last. This from the woman who gave us the self-destructing clothing. Yeah, of course. But be careful. She doesn't begin by saying make things last. She begins by saying buy less. Choose well, and then make it last. She doesn't say make it last, choose well, buy less. It's the other way around. So you got to choose what you buy. If you buy one of the pieces that fall apart, it's intentional for them to with time degrade. But she also has pieces that are not built to fall apart. So she's telling you to choose well. She's not saying everything she makes is going to last. She's saying it's up to you. That's the big difference there. She's giving you the power, which is amazing, I think. Kindle says, yes, make less, better quality, and invest in your customer. Amen to that. Melinda says, yes, Kindle, customer does not matter anymore, anywhere. Cries in Paris says, oh, Mugler 90s couture, bring that back. Do you own any Mugler pieces? I have Thierry Mugler sunglasses from the 80s. Amazing. But no, like, it's really hard to find those amazing pieces, and they're so expensive. I can't afford those. Not at the moment, at least. Unless somebody out there wishes to invest in opening an amazing archive collection like the Super Dacob Museum for Fashion, and then, you know, then we could talk. So if anybody out there is interested, let me know. Kiadora says, that's considered snobby by me. What is, Kiadora? Meaning being embarrassed from wearing one dress twice. Yeah, of course that's snobby. That's totally snobby and delusional. Melinda says, yep, greedy and snobby. Kindle says, Mugler was literally from another planet. Totally. The alien we love to love. I know this guy has a bad rap, but John Galliano for Versace, that would be wild. Listen. Poor Galliano, because no matter what you say about him, it's like you're going to have some moral person out there bash you. But you know me, I'm never afraid to say what I think. The fashion world is a bitch. People are bitchy, they're nasty, they're going to say a lot of shit behind other people's backs. It's just the nature of the beast. You know. You got to have uniqueness, nerve, and talent. And what was the first thing? The C. RuPaul says it. Uniqueness, nerve, talent. Charisma. Charisma, uniqueness, nerve, and talent. What does that spell out? And that's how a lot of people are in the fashion business. Charismatic, unique, nerd, talent. So there you have it. So, but Galliano is one of them, and Dior wanted to get rid of him because they wanted to change stuff, and they just found he was an easy target because he has a big mouth, and half the time he doesn't mean what he says, but he's just so high. He was. And of course you could take things out of context. Guys, let's not forget, why wasn't Kate Moss's career destroyed after her photos leaked of her snorting some white powder, to not name what it was? She lost her contract with Dior for a week, and then 1 week later, the amount of money you needed to pay if you wanted to book her tripled. That gave her even more exposure, and she became even more famous. So it all depends on what people want to make out of it. So she's considered this junkie, but then instead of morally not acceptable, she can't be part of fashion anymore. Let's give her even more money. And then Galliano did what he did. But isn't it so comfortable and easy how somebody was there to film and to record everything, and he was pushed in a certain direction to say certain things? I'm not saying it was a setup or a conspiracy, but he was an easy target, and if Dior wanted to get rid of him, they found the best way to do it. Now, does this mean, and this is why I said before, people are going to attack now because, oh my God, morally it's unacceptable what he said. Yes, of course it's morally unacceptable what he said. But that's not what we're talking about here. We're talking about this society and this culture deciding according to what's better for them, when things are considered forgivable and when they're not. And I think that's just a little bit too easy, And so his career gets destroyed. I mean, he's back working now, but never really recuperated. We can't, but still, he's an amazing designer. And I do agree with you. I think if Galliano got to do Dior, it would have been incredible. A friend of mine told me the other day in Vivienne Westwood's biography, she can be a little zesty lady as well. They asked her something about John Galliano, and they said, if she liked his collections, for Dior or whatever, all of that kind of very British inspired, Baroque, Renaissance-y, punky, And she said, oh yes, how can I not love them? They're all mine. He copied all of my pieces. Of course I love them. But she wasn't angry, but she made a point. And she's right. And, but people do copy her a lot. Just look at Dolce & Gabbana back in 2002 with their sex choker necklaces, That was her. They're copied one-to-one, and they even admitted it at a certain point. Stefano even on his Instagram said, yes, I have to admit we did copy it, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, girl, okay, it took you 10 years, but better late than never. But even now, if you go on their website and you check out some of their t-shirts with the Prince Charming, or the crown drawn with the Prince handwritten, that's Vivienne Westwood. Those Dolce & Gabbana shirts and t-shirts and sweaters with that pattern, that print with that handwritten stuff, that's all Vivienne Westwood, guys. That's not Dolce & Gabbana. But she's a cool lady. She doesn't even sue them. She doesn't care. Stuckmann said, perfect example of taking something out of context. My perfect example is everything falls down. How was that for an earthquake? The big one just happened. Wait, let me put you back up, guys. Isn't it amazing when these things happen live? Well, freaking shit. All right, are you still there? All right, so whose ghost just made everything fall? What do you think? All right, so I was reading, Stuckmann said, perfect example of taking something out of context. Remember Jean Guerlain saying, he worked like a N in the early days. No, I don't remember him saying that. Melinda says, that's our Vivienne. Everyone tries to copy Viv. Of course they do. The women, I mean, guys, whatever. You know I love her, so I'm going to repeat myself. Bloopers. Debbie says it was her ghost. Kid that has a heart attack. Ghost Debbie. Ooh, spooky. Well, we are getting close to Halloween, you know. There's going to be more of this going on. Because we're very spiritual. So yeah, so that's my opinion. And I think, you know, as far as Donatella is concerned, I think she lived in her own bubble, like in a bubble, secluded from the real world for too long, you know? And that's a problem. She needs to really reconnect. And you know what the funny thing is? At the end of the day, I'm keeping it real. Nobody in the freaking fashion world or all of this Instagram fashion talking people, influencers, nobody dares give their own opinion. They're always going to lick ass. They're always going to be polite and nice to other people because they never know. I'm so bored of people not telling you to your face what they really think because they're afraid that one day, you know, they might work with you or for you, so they don't want to offend you. Well, I don't want to be surrounded by minions that just always say yes. How am I going to grow? And I have the feeling a lot of these big people really just only have people saying yes around them. And hence they're delusional. They think everything they do is amazing when it's not true. Not everything you do is amazing. And yeah. And then you fire the people that dare tell you what they really think. Well, I'm sorry for you for doing that because that's just going to make your life more difficult. You know? Anite says... Oh, wait. No, wait, before that. Kinda says, what are you going to dress up for Halloween? No clue yet. Melinda says, Sweetie is gone, Debbie's sob. What do you mean? Debbie's gone? No, she's not. There she is. Anite says, Vivienne Westwood does some really interesting clothes as well, Dacob. Do you know that destroyed t-shirt with the NS logo? Now that is what I call a fashion statement. Anite, have you been following my channel or not? You do know that I have the destroy sweater, right? I made videos about that sweater. The t-shirt came after. The luxury hybrid, everyone wants a friggin' endorsement, yes. And it's always about like, oh my God, I love your collection. Oh, thank you so much for inviting me. I'm like, and I'm the person like, hey, you know, I really like those 3 pieces. The 4th one, why did you do that? I want to know because to me it doesn't really fit. I challenge, I question. And then if people get offended by it, then I'm like, well, okay, we don't have to talk. You know? B. Alex, did I miss the review? The review of what? Well, we didn't watch the show now. The show was 2 days ago. I did review the show, not piece by piece, but I at the beginning of this video, I explained like what worked and what didn't work about it, in my opinion. The luxury hybrid says, challenge creates growth. Yes, it does. As painful as it may seem, at the end of the day, it's good for us. I guess. So yeah, Stuckman says, meh. If they don't like it, they can get their own damn YouTube channel. Bam! And also, I would like to repeat a wonderful story Mr. Stuckman told me once. I don't know how much I'm allowed to say of it because I don't remember if you wrote it to me in a private message or in the comments. So I'm gonna... Oh, then I can't really say it because I don't know if people know what you do, if I'm allowed to say to them what you do. If I am, then I'm going to tell them a special story about a Louis Vuitton bag. You know the story. Am I allowed to say it or not? Mr. Stuckman, I'm waiting. Let me know. Okay, so we're allowed to say it because Stuckman said it officially. So basically, I love this story. He wrote me this. So he was helping one of these ladies put her Louis Vuitton bag in the compartment above Oh, Stuckmann, how do you call it? The upper compartment? The upper bin, the bin compartment. What's it called in the airplane? The compartment, the above the head compartment. What's the professional terminology for it? I want to do you justice. What's the overhead bin? Thank you, my dear. So he was trying to help her put her fake, because he has a sniper eye, her fake Louis Vuitton bag, and she's like, she warned him, she was being a bit bitchy about it, like, be careful with her Louis Vuitton bag, you know, to not damage it. And then he like told her, oh, there is no Louis Vuitton bag here to damage. Oh my God. I mean, the shade of it all. And she shut up and did not say a word after that, right? Could you imagine? Oh, I'm sweating. That was too funny. That's fucking hilarious. I'm taking everything off, guys. This is just too hot for me right now. Everything's falling off. Melinda remembers the story somehow. Did I read it in an old comment? Yeah, I wasn't sure anymore if Stuckmann wrote that in a comment or if it was like in a direct message to me. That's why I asked first if I'm allowed to say anything. But yeah, you know what I mean? Anita says, damn, that was so brutal. Apply cold water on the burn. Good one. I'm living for Stuckmann, the luxury hybrid says. Listen, guys, could you imagine the pleasure? Because it's such a subtle and elegant shade. So elegant because, you know, it cuts, but like she can't use it against you because it's not like a direct offense, but it cuts like a knife, you know? Could you imagine? My Louis Vuitton. He's like, what Louis Vuitton? I don't see one here. Oh, it's lovely. Oh, the shade of it all is so amazing. Oh, I love stuff like that. Diana's like, put salt on the affected area. Debbie says, especially if she was being a witch. And that she was. Stuckmann says she could waddle her bougie self back to Canal Street and get a new ripoff. Melinda says, oh, more shade, Stuckmann. I'm sure Mr. S has way more incredible stories to share. Like, I'm sure. Would be great to hear more of those. But yeah. So yeah, that was the video, guys. That was the Versace video, you know? Anita is like, damn, savage level 10,000. Or is it 1,000? I can't see all the zeros. Melinda's like, do tell. Sips the tea. Do I have any tea? No. I still have from the last video, like, perfumes laying around. We have Egoist here. We got Dolce & Gabbana laying around. Oh, look, the giant comes in to say hi, too. Oh, and we have Sailor Moon. This is my favorite notebook, by the way. All my thoughts are in Sailor Moon's notebook. But yeah. So guys, thank you so much for tuning in for the second live stream of the day. We are like in overdose of live streams lately. Kindle says, Sailor Moon, that's my girl. Stuckmann asks, what's my scent of the day? Melinda's asking me if I have class tomorrow. Yes, I do. It's my scent of the day. Okay, so well, today, okay, so while I was reviewing the Dolce & Gabbana show, I put this one on. But before I started doing the Versace review, I put on Bel Respiro. And I'm smelling Bel Respiro, and I'm surrounded by Bel Respiro, the eau de toilette. That's my scent of the day, actually. Even though I cheated on it with Dolce & Gabbana for a minute, but I went back to Bel Respiro. So that my scent of the day is Bel Respiro by Chanel. Anite says, Dacob, have you seen the new notebook from Gucci Flora? It looks kind of flowery. Groundbreaking. No, I haven't. Melinda's like, I smell you. Yeah, we have Odorama. Odorama. So yeah, this, me and my Versace Bowser. Remember Bowser from Nintendo, Super Mario? This is my Bowser bracelet. That's why I like it so much, because it's really... it's so Bowser. It should be a bit tighter though, like that. We're gonna say bye-bye because it's been a while. Kiadora is so funny. It's like, my Wi-Fi sucks, so maybe I'm no longer here. That's a very philosophical concept, very abstract. You're still here. Kindle says, when is your next live chat? Maybe tomorrow if I'm not too tired from school. Because I got school, student Dacob. I'm back to school, guys, every day. Stupman, Donatella could come up with eau-de-tray. Yes, she could, or eau-de-nose spray. Oh, Dacob, can I tell you some news? Well, write them here. Tell us the news. Melinda says, bye, Dacob, hugs. I love live streams. Yeah, I'm trying to push as many live streams as possible because that's how I can talk to you, you know? Because it means that I get to interact directly, you know? There's no, like, me filming something, editing it, uploading it, because that takes days. And then once the video hits, you react to it, and then I answer back to those comments. It's all kind of like the time is always shifted, but when I can live stream, everything is immediate, and it just makes me feel so much more alive, you know? I mean, that's just for you to understand the kind of the timing for everything. So for me, if I manage to do live streams, it's definitely the best. It's like the PERFUME, and the pre-recorded videos are the eau de toilette. You know, they're more watered down version because there's a lot of time passing from the moment I film them to the moment that you actually see them, and then the moment that I actually answer your comments. Kendall says, love you, Dacob. Oh, love you too. These live chats are really cool. Yeah, I do apologize for the video quality. Of course, it's not this high definition, high res camera that I use when I pre-record. But this has to do, but I'm working on it, guys, because this has to do with the speed with which my internet allows me to upload. I have a different speed to download. So what I'm doing now is I have to make a new contract. So I'm going to be basically investing more money in the YouTube channel. So I'll be paying more money as soon as I can to speed up the upload so that the quantity of bytes or gigabytes, whatever the heck it is, that I upload per second is higher. Hence, the more I can upload per second and the higher the definition will become with the live streams. That's the trick there. Maybe a bit complicated, but that's the gist of the story. That's what it is. And within the bunker, what we also have to realize is whether or not it's possible to have these upgrades implemented or not. Okay, so Kiodora's news is, I work in a perfumery. Yay! I love perfumes and there's a lot of Chanel. Oh my God, that's amazing. So you're going to get all the freebies now. Yes, you go, Kiadora. Fabulous news. Congrats, dear. Congrats. Kiadora says, I work there just on weekends because I gotta go to school. Yeah, but that's fine. You know, enjoy the weekends. Oh my God, you come home like smelling like a flower. That's great news. Congratulations, Kiadora. So guys, on this wonderful news that Kiadora got a perfume job, which is great. We're going to close it here. So are we going to add party? This is Dawn. Dream. No, Dream we do for Twin Peaks. Should we do bubbles? Okay, let's do bubbles. Wait. Can I like make them go away? No. If I move? Oh yeah, they do go away if I move. Okay, but they only react to my face. So yes, there's a lot of soap here, a lot of bubbles, and well, Kiadora, it doesn't matter if it's not a Chanel perfumery. I think like the only Chanel perfumeries, there's like Paris and maybe some in New York, whatever. But as long as you sell also Chanel perfumes, that's amazing. So guys, thank you so much for tuning in. Never give up on love, and thumb up this video. I want to see the love shared in those tummies. And if you haven't already, but do wish to, please consider subscribing to my channel here on YouTube. I'm also on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, and Snapchat. Super Dacob, all spelled together. Most of the things I post them first there to announce what's going to happen here on YouTube or what have you. You know what I mean? Like all the shebang. So you could follow me on all those social medias where I experiment a lot. And I shall see you very, very soon Anita says, thank you, Dacob. Thank you too, sweetie. And Melinda's like, have fun at school. Kindle says you need all the soap and bubbles to wash away the shade. Honey, there is not enough soap in the world that could wash this shade. Stupman says, thanks, babe. Mwah. Thank you too, Stupman. And Anite, may the force be with you. Thank you, guys. Love ya, and see ya very soon. Somewhere in the fashion bunker. Bye.